Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning and welcome. It's Nurse Richard the Wax Wizard. Thanks for joining me. By popular request, that introduction. I had a lot asking me, do I have any Roadrunners? I couldn't find one with Roadrunner in it. So I thought I better put me in it instead of the Roadrunner. He still hasn't caught me, that old wily coyote. He's not wily enough, clearly. Anyway, tricky little procedure in here today. Just 2 ears, both from the same patient, and they both looked incredibly different. And you'll see a classic example of one ear that's been absolutely drenched in oil and one that hasn't. And give me one that hasn't any day of the week, because it just makes a mushy mess, which is what this one is. And we did have to, well, I didn't have to, but I chose to irrigate it at the end, so some more underwater irrigation images. Only a quick one, but I know some of you enjoy that. Difficult to film, yes, but I have found a technique to do it and get some really good images underwater. Maybe I should patent that technique and tell all the other guys how I do it. Anyway, so this here is very, like I said, it's very mushy. I'm not sure exactly what oil she used. I don't think it was olive oil. Looking at her other ear, which was quite firm and solid, I don't think olive oil would do that to this. So it's more than likely either sodium bicarbonate or hydrogen peroxide. But the reason why I irrigated it is because and this is a smallish tube, I think this is the medium-sized tube, but every time I touch it, a little bit comes away. So it's not formed. It's just an array of mush. So that means that you've got to repeatedly touch it to get every little bit out. Now, I thought I could do it at one point, but then it just got to a point where I thought, you know what, it's just safer to flush it out. And that's what we chose to do, mostly because the mushy stuff was left, was in the recess, which is really difficult to get to, particularly one like this. And me being left-handed can't get quite round that bend. Well, could if you bend a tool, but as I've said before, I don't agree with bending tubes. Not what they were designed for. And strictly speaking, you're interfering with a medical device. And if something goes wrong when you've done something to a medical device, your insurance would be invalid. So you'll never see me bending a tube. For that very reason. No problem with anybody who does, but if there was a issue with it and something went wrong and the patient told the judge, they said they were going to bend this tube, and does it say in the instructions you should do that? No, it doesn't. So that's why you won't see me doing it. So I decided it was just safer just to flush it out to get in the recess. Anyway, before I forget, today's subscriber of the day is Susan Johnson. Now, Susan left a comment saying, what a great idea, having subscriber of the day. Thank you, Susan. And because you put that comment in, it's you. One of my first girlfriends, I think might well have been my very first girlfriend, was actually called Susan Johnson. I don't think that's you. Let me know if it is. But I don't think that was you. So thank you. And if you want to be subscriber of the day, you know what you got to do. You got to subscribe to the channel. Yes, it's a way of getting more people to comment, trying to cheat the algorithm to get this comment, to get the channel to grow more, to put videos in front of more people when they open up their phones, and hopefully it works. So I'm getting really close to the eardrum now, which is why I'm probably slowing down a little bit, because it becomes a bit more dangerous when you're doing something like this. Speaking of dangerous, leads me into a bit of a segue. My wife, where do I go with this? You're thinking, dangerous? His wife, what's going on? She's not dangerous, not usually anyway. but what she's decided to not, I know I did this charity run, the Great Manchester Run for my daughter's children's hospital. And so many of you have really kindly donated to that, and I really do appreciated it. Raised a ridiculous amount of money, over £3,000. So thanks to everyone who donated for that. But my wife, not to be outdone, she decided she's going to take on a challenge as well. I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in any of the early videos. And again, I will put a link to her challenge. You can just go and have a look at it. You don't have to donate. You really don't, because I know a lot of you kindly donated to the one that I did. So I don't want to seem like I'm coming at you with a begging bucket, you know. But if someone wants to, then great. But what she's doing, for a start, she's going a lot further than me. She's doing a 20. What's it called? The Great Peak Challenge. Anyway, there's an area in England called the Peak District, area with beautiful hills and mountains, and she's doing a 25 kilometre hike up and down these mountains as part of this challenge, doing it with one of her friends. And she's raising money for the British Heart Foundation because they supported her, because obviously my daughter got this heart condition. Well, she got two, but one of them, it's an inherited faulty gene, and she got that. We both got tested, and she got that from her, from my wife, from her mum, and incidentally, my wife got that from her mum. Everyone's been tested, so it's just the women, unfortunately, who've got it. And so she got support from the British Heart Foundation with her diagnosis. They were very supportive and told her what help was available, what to expect going forward, and any support that she might need in the future. So they've been really good. So she's doing it to raise some funds for the British Heart Foundation. And so I will put a card up at the end. This is only if you're watching on YouTube. I'll put a card up at the end with a link to it, and if I can remember, I'll put a link in the description as well. I have also asked her to document it. Now, whether this happens or not, I don't know. I really hope so, because I know a lot of you have been saying, when's the podcast coming out? What you're going to film with her and a friend? Still trying to pin them down. Not literally. Well, sometimes. But you were just having trouble coordinating diaries to do that. But I have bought her some equipment and some fancy microphones that work really well in wind, and I've asked her to film her hike with her friend, because they are very funny together. And she did even say she might even consider starting her own YouTube channel doing this. I hope she does, because it will be very entertaining. Because just two people are just funny together. And Carly's a wonderful woman, her friend. How can I put it politely? She's different. She says some really weird things. And my wife just knows how to trigger her, how to ask her a question that leads her down a weird path. Anyway, I think they'll be funny, them too, if they do start this hiking channel, because they go all the time to lots of beautiful parts of the country. And as soon as I find out what the channel's going to be, what it's going to be called, I'll let you know. Anyway, that's enough about that. I've rambled on. So, as you can see, I got so far with this, and I thought, I'm not really getting any further. So let's just give it a quick blast with the irrigator, and look how quickly it works. Straight out. So, for me, safer than dabbing around with a sharp tube. There are some people who shouldn't have irrigation for some reasons. If you've got a problem with your immune system, because there is a slight higher risk of getting infections after it. Anyone with a perforation, previous or current. Anyone with any mastoid issues, problems with their immune system, etc., recent acute infection. So there's lots of reasons why you shouldn't do it on some people, but for most people it's perfectly safe. And like I said, in my opinion, slightly safer in some circumstances. So this is the other ear, and you can see the difference between an oiled ear and an unoiled ear. And now, I thought she did put some in, but only for like a day or so. The other one she'd been drowning for weeks, I think. But I think she was a hearing aid user too, so it's kind of stuck it to the bottom of the ear. So I'm just trying to peel it off. Really hard to get a grip of as well, because it's drier than you think. This now, I have mobilized it, as you can just see. it is moving now. So I'm trying to get the tube a bit too deep for tools for this, for my liking. Currently anyway, I am going to try one in a minute, but only when I've brought it forward a little bit. But you'd think it would, because it's quite a flat surface, that, and I thought it would bring it forward quite easily. It does a little bit, just starts to come. I thought it would all come then, but it didn't. But because it's kind of, what I'm going to try and do is lift up the front section, so I've got something to grab hold of, and I'm going to try getting a forceps in there. So I know it's not going to come out now. The reason why I'm doing that is I'm trying to just lift it up, so I've got something to grab onto. And as the thing above me says, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it. And you might even become subscriber of the day too, so let me know in the comments if you want to be the subscriber of the day, and I will generate it at random with... You've got to say subscriber of the day in the comment though, because the only way of finding all these comments, because I literally get hundreds, sometimes more than 1,000 a day, put subscriber of the day in your comments. That way I can filter it, search for those people who've said, yes, I'd like it to be me. So as you can see, tried to get the forceps in, it just nipped the front bit off. Couldn't really get hold of it and pull it out. So instead, gone with some oil. Probably should have done it earlier. And it just came out dead easy. You can just see it at the back end, can't you? Sliding up. And it was for quite a little ear, but it was quite a substantial chunk for a little ear. And out it pops. There we go. I got the timing right this time. Canal's not looking terribly happy. It's a little inflamed, but should soon settle down. Otherwise, not too bad. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, the links will be in the description to my wife's challenge, and probably a card, either that side of me or that side of me. But for now, take care of yourself, and I'll see you later. Ta-da.